Hello everybody and welcome back to the Bayonetta 2 walkthrough. It's time for Chapter 14, The Witch Hunts. Now I have to say this chapter is pretty damn awesome. Because it is going to introduce us to a brand new mechanic. Annoyingly, this is kind of the only chapter where it turns up in the story, other than the prologue, remembrance of time thingamajiggy at the beginning. But it is still pretty damn awesome. So here we go, we have the Umbran armour, which is just amazing. It's a massive giant robot mech. And we get to use it for the entirety of this chapter, which is just like, ah! It's glorious. Anywho, a witch's ultimate weapon. At their peak, the secret arts of the Umbra witches had advanced to the point they would give even today's modern science a run for its money. Not many records remain of what the Umbra accomplished, most were lost in the witch hunts of the past. There are, however, still many wall paintings depicting what the Umbra were capable of. On certain wall paintings, there are depictions of a gigantic jet-black warrior the witches would call forth in the middle of their most desperate battles. I guess you could call it a robot? Still, it's not like the robots you see nowadays. These machines was like something straight out of a science fiction flick. Considering it's a heavily armoured power suit for the Umbra, I guess Umbran armour would be a good name for it, right? Similar to how the witches would control their infernal demons, that Umbran armour is manipulated by connecting the machine's framework with the witch's hair, using it as a catalyst for their magic power needed to move the armour like it was their own hands and feet. Any witch that hopped into that iron suit could take down entire armies of angels in a blink of an eye, and it is bloody wonderful. So, as we move into this first area, we're going to be fighting down quite a lot of beloveds, with, like, lots of big enemies. There are kind of all these little kind of applauds and so on sitting around, but they aren't going to do much to us. Now, when I first played this mission, it was just like, oh, this is so cool, but I have no idea how I'm meant to get a good combo ranking. Well, it's actually remarkably easy. So, what you need to do is basically punch, punch, punch and hold. So if you hold the last punch, then kind of you're essentially going to do the combo that I am repeatedly doing, because it just racks up the combo points like there's no tomorrow. Because you get 200 for each hit, and then you can get up to like 900 with the guns on the last hit, and it's just like, oh my god. If you want an easy chapter for getting halos, this is it. Like, my god. You will just zoom when it comes to all of the halos, because you're just going to be racking up so many combo points if you play your cards correctly. If you don't, however, then you are going to kind of not quite be perfect, but even then you're still going to pick up a hell of a lot. Now, I believe that the music right now is the Great Wall Land Battle, and it is pretty glorious. I mean, this is one of my favourite chapters in the game. Like, I wasn't too keen on the Umbran armour to begin with, and the fact that this one combo is kind of your best option is a bit sucky, but it is one of my favourites now. I think because just when you are on it, it's just so much fun. Because you are just obliterating everything. It's very easy to get through quite quickly, because while there are a number of, well, there's at least one Muspelheim, which I think we're going to go into right now, yes. Like, it's still only like a 12-minute chapter, and while normally I would be miffed, I think kind of having the Umbran armour and the fact that this does ramp up quite quickly. So even though it's quite short, it's it feels satisfying enough. It's not like the miserable chapter 6, which was just too ridiculously short for its own good. Also, taking these guys out with the Umbran armour is just, like, wonderful. It's certainly a bit of a challenge, but if you've obliterated the guys to begin with early enough, then you get to this beloved and he's just going to go down with very little fight. As you can see, it just wrecks stuff. Now, if I recall correctly, the Umbran armour was shown off at the Treehouse Live at E3. I think it was E3 2014, because that was when a lot of stuff got showed off. And it was a bit like, ooh, this is new, this is fancy. It's kind of a bit of a shame because they did spoil it, because it appears so late in the game. And this is the only point where it appears within the story, apart from, as I've already said, the beginning. But here we have Sapientia, who, if you've played the first game, you will recognise. And we will be facing him down relatively shortly, actually. We just need to get to the end of this bridge, but I'm going to be ramping up all of that combo points whilst I've got the opportunity. Also, what is really cool is that you have Rosa fighting alongside you in the mechs as well. And also that she summons Hectonhair there, who doesn't really appear that much in this game. Like, we had him for the golem, but that's about it. I believe he appears as part of the Umbran climax if you use the Takemikazuchi hammer, but other than that, he doesn't really appear that much. Now, after that bridge, basically, it's fights all the way to the end of the chapter now. And we begin with Sapientia in the choice between good and evil. And I have to say, Sapientia's a hell of a lot easier when you're not fighting him in the middle of a massive whirlpool, and when you're in a massive, giant witch demon mech thingamajiggy. He's just a lot easier to read, really. Now, that is the best I have ever done at that verse, I am pretty sure. It's just like, what the heck? I wasn't expecting to do that well. To be perfect, I wasn't expecting to do that well on this entire chapter, really. I got a pure platinum on Sapientia. Oh my god. There is just something about Bayonetta that just makes you giddy. Because, like, I don't know. there's just something about the insanity of it all that is just wonderful. So, now, we had the song Resplendent Judgment just there. And now, as we are fighting this thing which is called a worship, we have the Great War area battle. And if you want a verse to do in Tag Climax, because Tag Climax has a bunch of, well, it has loads of different verses from the game, and this is one of them. Basically, this is the one that you want to be replaying if you want to get Halos. And I mean that so seriously, because this is by far the easiest and quickest verse to get your combo points up to 9,999 times 9.99 and just keep it going. It's a challenge, don't get me wrong. But, like, you can get your combo points so high that you will be getting, like, millions of Halos by the time you're done. We didn't quite get it perfect there, but you'll be seeing the Halo farming potential that it can provide. And last but not least, we have the return of Justitia, or Justitia. Technically it should probably be Justitia, but they spelt it with the I, so I'm going with Justitia. And in giving every man his due. Thankfully he's a lot easier here than he was in the original game, because you only have to face off one head. But either way, he's still a bit of a cheap little git. But with that, the very, very short Chapter 12 is complete. And with a wonderful middle finger ignition charge, there we go. It's time for us to head into the penultimate chapter of Bayonetta 2. Let's do this.